Today, the sentence of the man captured by the judicial system who would be responsible for the death of dancer Luis Bustamante was announced.
A judge sentenced Mario David Donado Magoan to 21 years and 2 months in prison for the murder of dancer Luis Carlos Bustamante Fernandez, popularly known as Luchin, who was found lifeless on March 16 near the Morgan's Cave. In a communique, the Attorney General's office informed, and I open quotation marks, the prosecutor's office was able to prove that on that night the defendant arranged a meeting with the victim at his place of work and that with a firearm he forced him to kneel down and then hit him in the head repeatedly with a blunt object, then caused him multiple wounds in his back with a sharp weapon, close quotes. During the hearings, Donado Magoan accepted his responsibility in the face of the overwhelming evidence against him.
The Environmental Authority of the Archipelago Coralina Corporation, in its most recent operation, achieved the seizure of a batch of plastic bags.
The Environmental Corporation Coralina, through the Subdirection of Quality and Environmental Management and in coordination with the Group of Control and Surveillance, conducted an operation where 1,150 single-use plastic bags were seized, which are prohibited in the archipelago according to Law 1973 of July 19 of 2019.
Several operations have been conducted during this year. So far this year, 37,712 plastic units have been seized in different parts of the archipelago, totaling a value of 9 million pesos. In the last operation, we retained 2,500 plastic units that were developed during 2 weeks. These plastic units will be destroyed because they are not complying with the current environmental regulations. The idea is that during this year, 2022, we will continue with the operations to comply with the regulations on issues of plastics and other specific issues.
The operation was supported by the environmental inspectors of Coralina and the National Police, who conducted the review and inspection of some disposable items in commercial establishments, finding the distribution of single-use plastic, which led to its immediate seizure.
And after the demonstrations and the blockade generated yesterday by the cab drivers, the Blue Agents will intensify controls in order to comply with Decree 0553.
Yesterday, the Gustavo Rojas Pinilla Airport was affected after the blockade by the cab drivers' union due to the non-compliance with Decree 0553 by vehicles such as vans that were picking up passengers inside the air terminal. Therefore, the Secretary of Mobility took over and intensified controls so that the established norm is not violated.
The Secretariat of Mobility will be conducting operations in the morning, afternoon, and evening hours, thus enforcing Decree 0553. Blue agents will be present enforcing the decree and also conducting operations so that all service providers comply with the legality of their documents and thus have them up to date on both cabs, vans, and private vehicles.
It should be remembered that during this year, cab drivers have raised their voices on several occasions due to the non-compliance with the agreements reached by the drivers of vans that were established in Decree 0553. So the government is committed through the Secretariat of Mobility, along with the union, to ensure that the agreements are met and that these demonstrations do not occur again.
Yesterday, an accident occurred in the afternoon at the intersection of Las Gaviotas and Slave Hill, also known as Bolivariano Hill, where a citizen suffered serious injuries after crashing his motorcycle into a van. In the morning hours of today, sadly, the man passed away.
The traffic light intersection of Slave Hill and Las Gaviotas was the epicenter of a road accident where a citizen was seriously injured after colliding with a van while driving his motorcycle. The man, who was taken to the Clarence Lee Newball Memorial Hospital, died this morning. According to reliable sources at the departmental hospital, the 60-year-old patient was admitted yesterday after 6 p.m. with polytraumatism in poor general condition with mild cranioencephalic trauma, closed abdominal trauma, pelvic trauma, and open fracture of the right tibia. After the medical staff performed radiological studies, it was observed that he had an unstable fracture of the pelvis which required surgical management, and due to the severity of the injuries in post-surgical state, he was transferred to the ICU, where after the attempts of the doctors to save his life, he died at 9:50 a.m.
And last Monday, December 12, the Chamber of Representatives approved in third debate the bill that would create the Ministry of Equality, which will be headed by Vice President Francia Marquez. Hours later, the result of the plenary session of the Senate of the Republic was known, which also gave green light for initiative of Gustavo Petro's government to become a reality.
Yesterday, the bill on the implementation of the Ministry of Equality and Equity was approved. The initiative, which will go to conciliation tomorrow, December 14, to become law after being sanctioned by President Petro, was voted positively by J. Pan and Mendez, House Representatives for the Archipelago, who argued their support for said initiative.
Lograr esa equidad.
To achieve that equity and equality that we all yearn for, because poverty is not only in deep Colombia or in the rest of the Colombian continent, but also in the most distant department of this country that is struggling to achieve that equality and equity in education, health, and entrepreneurship. That is why we have put our hope in this project, and I vote yes for my community.
For his part, Congressman Jorge Mendez, although he supported the initiative because of the benefits it brings to the archipelago and the Afros in general, he requested to define the costs that will allow the real implementation and effectiveness of the project.
Tengo una gran preocupación frente.
I have a great concern regarding the document that the Vice Minister of Finance has sent us, and this is because up to this date the costs for the creation and operation of this ministry are not clear, since the ministry makes it clear in the document of Dr. Diego Guevara, and I am not worried about the cost of the ministry. Hopefully it will be the one with the highest investment. My concern is that we are not left halfway or only in expectation.
The proposal to be led by Vice President of the Republic, Francia Marquez, was approved with 139 votes in favor and only 8 against in the House of Representatives. On the other hand, in the Senate, the result was 61 votes in favor and 6 against.
In other news, Findeter gave an update on the progress of the reconstruction and rehabilitation of the island of Providence after Hurricane Iota, the progress of the construction of the airport El Embrujo, and the progress of the drinking water treatment plant, among other works being carried out in the municipality.
The president of Findeter, Ricardo Bonilla, presented an assessment of the reconstruction and rehabilitation of 1,831 homes and other infrastructure projects executed by the Territorial Development Bank on the island of Providence, after the Hurricane Iota affected 98% of the population in the municipality.
We are in the process of finishing the drinking water treatment plant. Line 1 is ready, but Line 2 is still pending. The El Embrujo airport was rebuilt. The aircraft parking capacity was expanded. The passenger terminal is in process, and we hope to have it finished within 6 months, and the control tower has just been granted.
The entity stated that of the total numbers of houses, 765 were repaired. The remaining 1,066 are part of the reconstruction program from start. Of the later, 46 will be delivered soon. It also completed works that made it possible to put into operation 2 schools, 7 sport venues, 3 cultural venues, the prosecutor office, and the El Embrujo airport.
Now it's time for sport news with Victor Fosalva.
Hello, here are the best sport of the island. An important Christmas softball tournament to close the year with harmony. The Risals won their match against the Teachers in the Christmas Cup tournament played at the Eduardo Castro Stadium. The idea of the tournament is to seek fun for the players by integrating with players from different sectors of the island, as well as to prepare for the tournaments that will come next year. This is what Kane Manuel told us.
This is a championship, a recreational championship for us to keep active and to finish this year making sport, doing what we love. Okay, the sports are ball sport. Playing along with our team Raisal. Raisal is a team that we have come together from about 4 years back. We are ready to consolidate ourselves as a big team amongst the rest. And we playing here representing our community, our Raisal community most of all. And we participating in this end of year championship, this Christmas tournament. We have doing a good job. Right now we are on 4th place. And we're seeing this as a preparation to some invitation that we have for the 2023. The first one is an invitation that we have from Providence to go and inaugurate the new stadium in the month of February. So we're looking on that. So we're preparing ourselves and, keeping active.
Finishing the year playing is important for these veteran players. Staying active is of utmost importance for these veterans, as stated by Manuel. And a new day of elite basketball tournament was lived in the Ginny Bay Coliseum. This high-caliber tournament where all the teams want to win and the players want to show their best level. We spoke with the renowned coach, Luis Beleño.
Well, basically, the tournament, I believe, is successful, really successful, because you see and you're discovering a lot of talent from the kids them, and finally the kids them will end up here in the what we call the first level. You understand? So the most important thing is to continue the work, continue make tournament, and then we'll be again on the top of the hill, Colombia.
In first place, Hofi. The second place for Brown Road. In the third place, Bayside. In the fourth place, Brooks Hill. The fifth place is for Tom Hooker. And the sixth for Homie. In the seventh, Sound Bay. And the eighth place for the Giants. And this will be all in sports for the moment. I am Victor Fusalba, Teleislas News.